Welcome to the Clearly Worthy podcast. Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards embracing your worthiness and creating extraordinary success? I am your host, Allison Lacusier, a certified professional coach, a professional speaker, and a female founder. As a passionate advocate for women's empowerment, I've dedicated my career to helping individuals like you unlock their true potential, cultivate unwavering confidence, and live a life aligned with their deepest desires. With years of experience in the coaching industry, I've witnessed firsthand the incredible transformation that occurs when we tap into our worthiness and step into our power. Throughout this podcast, I'll be your guide, sharing insights, tools, and strategies to help you navigate the path towards unshakable self-confidence and fulfillment. Drawing from my own journey as a successful business owner, I'll provide you with practical advice, actionable steps, and thought-provoking conversations with industry leaders. From overcoming self-doubt to setting and achieving audacious goals, we'll explore a wide range of topics designed to empower you to embrace your worthiness in every step of your life. Through these engaging interviews and solo episodes, I'll share my experiences, lessons learned, and wisdom gained from our remarkable guests who've achieved remarkable success in their respective fields. So if you're ready to leave self-doubt behind, step into your authenticity, and thrive as the empowered woman that you are, then this podcast is for you. It's time to claim your worth, align with your purpose, and manifest the success you desire. I'm thrilled to have you join me on this empowering adventure. Welcome to the Clearly Worthy podcast. Hello, everyone. It is Allison Lacusier here, and we are here on the Clearly Worthy podcast. And I have a guest that truly needs no introduction. I've been in the rooms that she's created. I've been in the communities that have given me goosebumps. I have been standing amongst women, hundreds of women in groups. I'm so excited to have Heather Colicchio on today, the founder of AADOM. Heather, how are you?
Allison, wow, I'm great after that introduction. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. And I'm so excited to dive into your story today, to dive into your own journey of worthiness, of building a legacy in our industry. And I would just love for you to just give us an introduction of, who you are and what you're building and working on in our industry today.
Sure, happy to. So I am the founder and president of the American Association of Dental Office Management, also known as AADOM. And we are the largest professional organization actually in the world for dental office managers and practice administrators, but it is really for anyone who is responsible for the business side of a dental practice. So regardless of title, if you're the person who at the end of the day is responsible for making sure the business end of the dental practice is successful, we are your people. So.
I love it. And tell me a little bit more about where you live, what you're up to, your family.
I live in New Jersey. I'm here with my husband and my 2 teenage children. So just where I am right now, my youngest is starting college. So everything is college right now. So she's getting everybody up and out and settled. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an exciting time, a big transition time.
Yeah, but it's very fun, very exciting. So many opportunities. It's such a great time of life.
It so is. It so is. Well, I am so excited to have you on today because honestly, as a previous dental office manager, you truly changed the game and the perspective for me as an individual. I think a lot of women, in dentistry, office managers, I know there's not just female office managers, there's male office managers too, but primarily we do have a female population of office managers in dentistry. And I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to question yourself, to, really not know if you're doing the right thing in the dental office. It can be very lonely. And you have provided a platform and a community and an education that allows people. I truly remember standing in the room with goosebumps on my arm, looking around, being like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone anymore. And this is my tribe. And you did that so beautifully. So I want to start at the beginning. Why did you start AADOM? What was your mindset around that? Tell us the story.
Sure. So I, previous to AADOM, had no dental background whatsoever. Was not from dentistry. I was an entrepreneur. So prior to AADOM, I owned a chain of gourmet cafes in hospitals and medical centers. Heather's Gourmet Cafe, Starbucks type situations, which was great. And that was pre-Starbucks. So this was literally before Starbucks hit the East Coast. I had a long story, but I had an uncle who was in a hospital in Boston, and they had the first flavored coffee, coffee cart. And he kind of gave me the idea. So my senior year of college, I researched the coffee industry. I saw the trend coming from Seattle, got ahead of it, and opened up a coffee bar in a hospital. And the thought there being, the doctors and nurses are stuck there for, 12, 18, 24 hours. They need to be caffeinated. And the only other option is, the gross cafeteria coffee. So I was young. I was, 20, like kind of the age my kids are now, right? So like anything's possible, right? So I was like, you know what? My plan was, I was a psychology major. My plan was to continue on and get a PhD in psychology. So, but I said, let me give this a twirl. And I did. And that was really the game changer for me, because I was like, at that point, I was so young and I had my own business. And I loved everything about it. So that kind of put the entrepreneur, I wouldn't even say bugging me, it just became part of who I was. So I did the cafes, I added many, and did that for probably, good 10 years. And what was great about that experience is I had no business training. So I literally learned everything about running a business from the school of hard knocks, like literally from my mistakes is how I learned and how I improved. And I'm a bit of a nerd, and I'm, a lifelong learner. So I'm, like, whereas most girls would be reading like Vogue or whatever, Mary Claire, I was reading, Fortune and all the business books, because I was so eager to learn and how do I do this better. It was just a great time. And so I did that for about 10 years. And then I was like, once I started having multiple locations, I became more of a babysitter, right? Because then you're dealing, as any dental office manager can relate, you're dealing with staff and who shows up and who calls out, who's arguing with who. And that kind of sucks the joy out of things sometimes. So I was like, I want to work with more, like with people on a professional level. I didn't know what that looked like. Around that time, I have a good friend college who was a dentist. She called me and she said, Heather, I don't know what I did. So what do you mean? She goes, she was in a group, she was an associate. And like many dentists, she did have the entrepreneur bug and wanted her own practice. She gave her notice, she signed a lease, and then realized after the fact, she said, in dental school, they just teach us how to fix teeth. I don't know billing, coding, software, HR. And I said, all right, well, don't worry. I said, I'm a member of the Specialty Coffee Association of America. That's my go-to. There's got to be a go-to for whoever's running the business of a dental practice. And in helping her, I saw that there was not one, which was absolutely mind-boggling to me, right? Because there were professional associations for the dentists, then the dentist by specialty, by state, the assistant, the hygienist, and not one for what arguably is the most important person in this whole ecosystem, because you could be the best dentist on the planet. If someone's not running your practice like a business and making it profitable, there will be no practice for you to work in. So I, kind of saw the opportunity, and it grew from there. So yeah. And at some point I ended up selling the coffee bars and just diving into AADOM full time once I saw the need. And we've just grown tremendously. It's almost 20 years now. And, and thank you. But I do like to believe AADOM, not me, but AADOM has had an impact on the dental industry. I do believe we've elevated the position of dental office manager from something that was, the best way it's been explained to me, actually, it was something that used to be a job, but now is a career.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just get goosebumps when I think about it. Honestly, it was my favorite meeting that I've ever been to as an office manager, because you felt seen, you felt heard, you felt valued, you felt important, and you learned things that were actually directly for you. And that was just so beautiful. And something that I do all the time as a coach is like bust limiting beliefs in people. And so your story just shows like you can start anywhere, and all you have to do is really like have a vision and want to serve. And that's exactly what you did to build this amazing legacy. And I think sometimes we think like, oh, well, if I don't go to business school, or if I don't have this, formal X, Y, and Z, or if I'm not this person, then I can't achieve great things. And that's just so not true.
So not true, Allison. I mean, we have, like I said, the world's largest professional organization for business managers. I have no dental experience and no business experience. So just to confirm what you're saying, limiting beliefs, just toss them out the window. Like just yeah. And actually, if I'm really being honest, I think not having a dental background actually was great because I had no preconceived notions. I had no loyalties. I came into this just, eyes wide open. So I was able to look at everything very objectively. So I would, if you have what you think is a limiting belief, just turn it on its head. It's just a thought. Yeah.
Exactly. And our thoughts aren't us. They, even if it comes forward and you're like, wait, can I do this or should I? Or, am I capable? It's like, that's just a thought. It's not who you are. So tell me a little bit about some of the lessons. My dad is also an entrepreneur. So I came from an entrepreneur background and I just was laughing when you said the school of hard knocks, because that's literally what he would say to me all the time. It's like, I'm from the school of hard knocks. You're from the school of hard knocks. So tell me a little bit about that school and like, what did you learn along the way?
Oh, let's see. So some of the lessons I've learned, I mean, I could get into like nuts and bolts, but some of the lessons I've learned are think big. So one of the most, I think actually one of the key moments in the AADOM journey, at some point I was like, you know what, this business or whatever it was at that point, I'm like, I need a website so people can all find us. And at that time, so this is 20 years ago, there were no website companies. So I knew someone who knew a guy who built websites in his basement. So I went to this guy's basement, which in retrospect was probably not, I don't recommend that. Don't do that. But I did. And he was super cool. And we're like legit just building, talking it through. And he's like, well, what do you want to call a company? And I literally remember saying the New Jersey Dental Managers Association. And he looked at me and he was not dental. He goes, it sounds kind of small. I said, okay, the Tri-State Dental Managers Association. He goes, why not the American Association? I said, okay, why not? And
Wow.
right. So, that to me, like I would have started small and I don't know if it ever would have become the American Association. It's not any more work to think big and start big. It's really not. So that's something I learned. Just a funny story, just from the School of Hard Knocks. I don't know if this will serve anybody, but so when I was with this guy in his basement, he's like, oh, you should put something up about a conference. I'm like, okay. So he put a picture of the New York City skyline. He put dental managers first annual conference, New York City, whatever, some date in the future. I forgot all about it. I didn't visit the site, so I never needed to go to the site. It was like a static site. I never needed to go. 6 months later, I started getting calls about the conference. I'm like, what conference? What is it calling about? I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to host a conference. So I ran to the city. Again, had no idea what I was doing. I booked a hotel Pennsylvania. I booked a couple of speakers and nobody registered. So I basically just called around and said, please come to my conference, attendees, exhibitors, please just come. So I may come, which was all well and good. It was actually really good because I got to see what happens when dental managers get together in a room, which was really important for me to see. But School of Hard Knocks, at the end of the day, I got the hotel rep came to me and said, here's your bill. And Allison, when I tell you, I almost fainted. I was pregnant. I said, I'm going down. Like, someone's going to have to call 911. I had no idea what they charge for food, for a cup of coffee. They charge for electricity. I was like, I have an electricity bill on here. Like, totally unprepared. But I was like, all right. And I paid it and lost money. And said, okay, now I know what to look for. So that's and now we have the biggest 4-day event, biggest management conference also in the country annually. So anyone listening, actually it's sold out, but it's every September. So yeah, we'll be in Orlando this September. So just to think about where that was, where I was like begging people just to show up for free, to now where we sell out, an 1,100 seat venue for 4 days with a waiting list. I guess my lesson there is just don't get discouraged. You're going to make mistakes, no matter what you're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're working in a practice, you're going to make mistakes. Don't let them stop you. Just say, what can I learn from this? How do I do it better next time?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think when we look at AADOM or we look at anyone that's built something really big and successful, we almost like put that person or that organization on this like pedestal of like, never making mistakes, like having everything together from day one. And just knowing and recognizing like that's where you started and like the journey that you've been on to like grow and grow and grow. It's like we're on a ladder, but it's not like we jump to the top of the ladder on day one. We climb it and let yourself climb it and let yourself figure it out. And I think that's just such a beautiful story of like, you know, we aren't going to get it right the first time, maybe not even the second or the third time, but if you have that vision, you will
Mhm.
create something really big and really helpful for people. And so I just love that story so much.
Oh yeah, I could write a bigger book of mistakes than successes. And just for anyone listening, just know any path from A to B is rarely, if ever, linear, no matter what it is in your life. I mean, anything is usually there's an up down motion to everything until you get to your destination. And that's, just enjoy the journey as much as you can.
Oh my gosh, so true. So I want to crack into your head a little bit if I may. And I've seen just as, coaching women in the industry for the last 5 years and being my own, kind of worst enemy sometimes especially when I first started as an office manager, I was like, who are you to lead people? Who are you to do this? When I started my own company, who are you to get on these stages? Like I personally struggled with self-doubt and then found ways to overcome it and found ways to be brave. And so I would love to hear like along your journey as kind of the stages got bigger, the attendees got bigger, and you started to see this grow and grow to the point where it's today. How did you overcome any like measures of self doubt or fear or any of that stuff that women tend to face at a greater level?
So that is a fantastic question. And my answer is I honestly never felt those things. And I will tell you why, Alice. And that is because my parents had two daughters, me and my sister, and they never said, well, anything a boy can do, a girl can do better. They never said that. It was just like, you can do whatever you want. It didn't matter that you're a boy or girl. You, Heather, can do anything you want, anything you set your mind to it. And I know that might be a little late for people listening now, but I know people listening have children.
Yes.
So my advice would be if you have a daughter, it's not anything a boy can do, you can do better. It's you can do anything you want to do, no matter what. And
I
and
love
that
that.
actually sets you so many steps ahead because you're not in your head trying to overcome these things that society might be trying to push on us. So
Hmm.
all the moms out there, let your daughters know they're probably, well, if you're going to say anything, they're smarter than the boys, they're stronger than the boys. They're way more mature than the boys. So yeah, I think go that route. But for anyone listening who sort of already has that stuff in their head, just know it's not true. I mean, the one thing that I have in my head that I always come back to, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, is, and Allison, along my journey, I've met incredibly accomplished people. I've met, literally billionaires, and well, however you define success. I've met every person who can kind of say they're successful by any definition of success, whether it's money or stature or whatever it is. Every person gets up every day and puts their pants on one leg at a time, just like you, just like me. That's it. That's it. So just that kind of like it was what it comes down to. I mean, we're
Hmm.
all the same. So
Yeah, one step at a time, one rung of the ladder at a time, and you have no idea like how big you can create an impact.
yeah, and I guess my point is like no one's better than you, no one's higher than you. Everyone puts their pants on one leg at a time, and everyone you meet is also facing a struggle you know nothing about. At the end of the day, we're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if whoever you're looking at, if they were able to do it, you're able to do it. You can probably do it better.
100%. Oh, that's just so inspiring. And I know you do a lot with like entrepreneurs, like you're very passionate about the entrepreneur journey, like seeing your own journey. I mean, all dentists truly are entrepreneurs as well. So, what advice would you give anyone that's starting out and wanting to be an entrepreneur or is an entrepreneur and really wanting to grow?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so much entrepreneurialism within dentistry, which is so exciting. I've seen our members, right, go and start businesses and become entrepreneurs. And I am very, very passionate about entrepreneurialism. I think, I say this all the time, we live in the greatest country on earth, and small business owners are the backbone of what makes this country great. So I would say, for anyone listening, if you are an entrepreneur, just what was the question? I get so wrapped up.
Yeah. Just like
What
any
advice?
advice. Yeah. I know
Okay,
this could, you could give so much.
so my advice would be, yes, I could. So my advice would be define your vision, like know what your vision is, and you don't have to define it, just feel
Mm,
it. I think if you're an entrepreneur, you know what your vision is. You don't have to like write it down or write a mission statement. It's in your head, it's in your heart. You don't have to, you know what it is, and just keep going in that direction. Like we said before, it's the journey from A to B. Nothing is linear. Beyond that, I would say read. That was probably my biggest um strength. I think that helped me is I was just so curious all the time. And business books, and I can send you a list if that I think every budding entrepreneur should read. um Online articles, understand money. I think that's a really
mm,
basic thing. A lot of people just don't understand money. They have a big vision, but they don't understand basic finance.
mm-hmm.
That is really important. And again, I if you have it, show notes where I can maybe share some resources. I think those core fundamental things. And also I would say, from my experience, get out. So I early on went to a lot of trade shows and just did a lot of talking and asked a lot of questions. Don't be shy to ask questions. I mean, people are happy to answer questions. And the other advice, Allison, I would give maybe lastly is put yourself out there. I think, just like I'm on this podcast, and thank you, but it's out of my comfort zone. I'm kind of introverted. This is a little out of my comfort zone. But what I will tell people is if you know something and you know it well, if you're an assistant, a hygienist, whatever it is, in the way we are now, content is king, and everyone is looking for content. Put yourself out there and share what you know, and just ask one, can I be on your podcast? Can I be on your webcast? Can I be your guest? If you have something, you know, valuable to share, chances are 9 out of 10, they'll say, yeah, we'd love to have you. And don't start there, share what you know.
100%. Oh my gosh. And I can just speak to that. Like as a new entrepreneur in the industry, as a coach, consultant, speaker, like I just asked women, specifically women. I've had amazing supportive men in my life and industry, but I've just had like amazing, like somebody like you who I've just looked up to for years and just asking like, will you be on my podcast? And you're like, okay, I'll do it. So it's true. You can ask someone and you have no idea what they're like. They might be really excited to help you or support you or share their message or share your
Mhm.
message. And so I can speak to that so much that I've been just in awe at the help and just the pull up of women in dentistry for my own business and my own world. So I think that's such an important one. And I think too, like you don't have to be perfect to start. In fact, you don't even
Oh
need to know
gosh,
how.
you'll never be perfect. You'll never be
No,
perfect. And that is also great advice. Just start where you are. Just bloom where you're planted, start where you are, and course correct as you go. You'll never be perfect. And if you wait for that day, nothing will ever happen. So if you
100%.
have an idea, just start small. Don't borrow, against your house or something. Just start. What is the least viable thing I can do right now to test my idea or get it out into the world? Just, just do it. Just put it out there. And if you're a woman in
100%.
dentistry, put it out there. Tag me, tag Allison, and we'll take a look. Like, and you're right. It is a very supportive community. And something I learned early on, also, I learned from the great Linda Miles, who's probably the world's first dental management
Yeah.
consultant.
Amazing.
She's amazing. She's like the fairy godmother of coaches and consultants.
Hmm.
And when I was just starting, she reached out to me and said, I want to help you. Like, I love what you're doing. And she told me about the Speaking Consulting Network, which was her business, which teaches people to become dental speakers and dental consultants. She's a dental speaker and a dental consultant. And I said, Linda, aren't you spawning your own competition? And she said, her beautiful Southern accent, she goes, Heather, there's enough for everybody. And I said, oh, you're right. And just that little part. So I think going into anything with an abundance mindset, it sounds cliche, but it's true. There's enough for everybody. There's more than enough for everybody. So if you're going to, especially um, entrepreneurship, go into it with an abundance mindset. There's things will come your way. Just know that and know there's enough for everyone. I think if you tackle anything in your life with a scarcity mindset, it's destined to fail.
Oh my gosh, I believe that so strongly. In fact, even going into practices, that's like one of the things I identify immediately. Like, does this business operate with abundance or scarcity mindset? And you can just see like the channels and the path that it goes on when you see it. So that one's critical. And yeah, I 100% agree. I've seen such amazing collaborations, and there's so many people to serve in our industry and will continue to serve as we grow. And so my next question is like, can you share like what's next? Like big
Mhm.
picture legacy for you. Like something that I think about sometimes is like, oh my gosh, like I'm here where I am right now. What's going to be the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Because, our life is long, but it's also short. And I think we can do a lot in our lifetime. So I'm curious to know, like, what are your next dreams?
Um, for ADOM or for myself or
Just, yeah, I would
in
say
general?
both for you. What are you most
Well,
excited about?
I'm most excited about, continuing ADOM. And you say there's so many people to serve. People ask me, what are you doing next? I'm like, we have so much still to do in dentistry. We have so many people still to, be of service to in dentistry. So I would say for the next 5, 10 years, my focus is going to be ADOM and how do we take this platform that I can't take credit for, me and the team that has found me, the ADOM team is magical. And that's something else I think, for anyone listening, as you do good work, people will find you and they'll want to work with you. So just whatever job you're doing, give it 110%. And at ADOM, we're mostly virtual. So when we create something, we put it out like into the ether. We don't know how it's being received, but we give it 110%. Oh, 150%, knowing if it helps one person, great. And whatever you're doing, do it over 100%. People will find you. That's how the ADOM team, that's how we've found, each other. So I would say for the next near future, growing ADOM, growing our membership, growing what we deliver. Dental industry is constantly changing, so we want to always be ahead of that so that our members are best served. And that pumps me up. Like that, that's fun for me. And I think if it's not fun for you, you're not doing the right thing. So that
Yeah.
gets me excited. That is super fun for me. Yeah.
100%. And if you're listening and you are not a member of ADOM, I remember when I purchased my lifetime membership and I was like, this is an absolute no brainer. Like, I want to be a part of this community for my entire lifetime. This needs to happen. So go and check it out. There will be a link in the show notes to join ADOM, to check out the next conference. Book your ticket now. I've been to 3 ADOM conferences. They have all been magical. I've made like best friends. I've learned so much. So go to the next ADOM conference, sign up as a member. You won't regret it at all. So let's just wrap up. Thank you so much to Care Credit, our sponsor, who truly just like believes in women in dentistry, who believes in our industry, who helps support us so much.
Well,
I
and let me just interrupt 1 second there, Allison. Speaking of Care Credit, they were one of the very first companies to believe in me. Um, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And believe in me, and not ADOM, because when they reached out to me, it was just me. And I remember I got just real quick, someone called and said, "Oh yeah, it was someone from Care Credit." She said, "I'm going to be in Philly." This was early days, maybe our first year, and my first year. I didn't have anyone else. And she said, "I'm going to be in Philly at I forget what trade show. I see. I've been watching what you're doing. Can you come meet me?" And I'm like, "Okay." And again, not don't be scared. Like, I wasn't nervous. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." And she said, "Okay, come to my hotel room." It's like room whatever. So I get up there and I'm thinking I'm going to be talking to someone like you one-on-one, and it's this just long conference table with like 10 people at it, and they put me at the head. And at that point I felt a little like, all right, I might be out of my league, but I'm here, so let's do this thing.
yeah.
And they said, what are you doing, what are you working on? And I told them. They said, that's fantastic. We love office managers, and we've been trying to have a direct line to them for so long. You've cracked the code. How can we help you? So thank you, Care Credit.
God, amazing. I can share a similar story as, Samir. We all know and love Samir so much. He found me. He's like, I love what you're doing in the industry. I love your energy. I was really not doing a lot at that point. He's like, we believe in you and we want to support you. And even with this podcast, I reached out and said, I want to empower women in dentistry at a greater level. Can you guys help me? And they're like, absolutely. And that's how we got connected, because they gave me, list of just some of the most influential, powerful, amazing women in this industry to learn from. So thank you. And they are the sponsors of this podcast, and they always sponsor this final question. And the final question is, if you can finish this statement,
Okay.
Women are worthy of.
Everything. That's just the first word that came to my mind. You are worthy of everything. You are, I guess, the opposite of you're unworthy. There's nothing you're unworthy of. You're worthy of everything.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. And so I just want to honor you for the work that you've done in our industry, the work that you and your team. And I think it's just such a great, inspiration to get inside your mind and just, hear how you've done this, why you've done it, where you've come from, because it can inspire others to have that really resilient mindset. And when you believe in yourself, when you don't question yourself, look what you can create. And everyone, anyone, where you've come from, if you have that vision, if you believe in yourself, if you know you're going to serve, you will be successful as long as you don't give up. So, Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allison. This was so great. Thank you. And yeah, hopefully, it inspired some people today. Women in dentistry, you rock. Or I should just say, everyone in dentistry rocks. And if you're a girl, you can probably do better than boys. I'm just saying. But thank you
uh,
for having me.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. If this episode inspired you, if you were excited by it, if you learned something from it, please share this with a friend, share this with a colleague, give us a like, and check out the show notes below where you can connect deeper with Heather, with AADOM, become a member, get involved. You will get so much from this community. So we will see you on the next Clearly Worthy podcast.